sign the warrant for the special town meeting to purchase and finance the St. John Bosco Church building. We have already signed a purchase and sales agreement, tentative on town meeting approval. Nothing is set in stone. This is just to sign the warrant so it can go to a special town meeting on, what's the date we're looking at?
November 25th.
25th at
7
7
o'clock.
o'clock in the school. So that's when you can all voice your opinion and vote. We're not gonna get into too much discussion tonight, right?
No, I mean, I personally, if people wanna, give 5 minutes, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
Like we always do, a select board meeting, we always have hearing of visitors. If people wanna voice their opinion, I don't have a problem with that, if the rest of the board. I just don't think we should go, cause it looks, I'm sure everybody's here for the same reason. So keep it to the 15 minutes discussion. But really, I wanna stress that this is all about giving an opportunity, yay, nay, it doesn't matter, we don't have any skin in the game at all. It's, the opportunity came up, we hear from people a lot that we should have bought this, we should have bought that building, so opportunity came up. We said the purchase had to go fairly quick, so we said, but we have plenty of contingencies in place, so.
Cindy.
If anybody wants to comment.
So it is a two-part question, if you please. Is there a specific thing that you want the building for? And two, were you required to put down a deposit?
We have to put down a deposit, which is fully refundable, right up until we sign the deed, is that correct? Yeah. Or is
Yeah. If the voters do not approve it, we will get all of our money back. If the inspection fails, we have an opportunity to cancel and get our money back, so.
That's understandable with the next question.
What was it?
Was there a specific use in mind?
We've heard so many ideas that the board has not said, we're gonna use it only for this. I'm sure if it does go through, we will be open to a lot of ideas. And I'm sure there's gonna have to be, many discussions on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a beautiful piece of property there, and hate to lose it because we've lost the Grange. There was a gravel bank for sale that we passed up on. The building next door to the school with all the land behind it. So, I just thought we'd investigate this. Deb?
I have a few questions. You had mentioned right in the beginning they're subject to financing. In the purchase and sale, it is not subject to financing, so I'd like to clarify that. So is it a cash offer? Because there is no financing contingency.
Right, we can add an addendum up until tomorrow.
Okay. The second question is, it just seems so quick.
It does.
And the board has known about it for a long time, that the church was closing, going up for sale. So I'm just, we can't just have tonight and then have a meeting. We have to be apprised all along of what's going on, what are the bids, is the septic good? If not, how much is it going to cost? The water we know is not potable. Do we need a new well? So these are all things that have to be done from here to the 25th. Who's going to do it? How will we keep informed? Because this is public.
Mm-hmm, yep.
This is public.
Yep.
Is there a committee? Is it up to the select board? Are you going to keep us advised? This is our money.
Yep.
It's not just the
I'd like
select
to
board.
address the first question she said with the town knew about it a long time. Yeah, the town did know. Everybody in town knew that the church was closing. And they knew that once the church closes, it would probably go up for sale, so there was rumor. I sit on the finance committee of the church. I knew about it. When the church put it up for sale, there was a bid within 2 days,
Yep, I'm aware of that.
okay? And we came in, the church, specifically Father Chalafu, knew that the town was interested and said, I would like to give them an opportunity before I sell it to anybody else. Because he wanted to give the opportunity to townspeople, because he has parishioners in town, he said this would be a good thing. They are kind of concerned of what will happen to this property, and they gave that opportunity. The opportunity, I told Father I didn't want to be the middleman because I have a conflict of interest if I did that. So I told Father to get a hold of the town, the board. He did. He accepted our bid after he already had a bid. I know that both the bids were equal.
Hers
So,
was cash.
That is, well, I don't know that, but I just
Well,
know
it
that the
did,
bids
yeah.
were equal. Okay, that's not what came through the church. I'm just telling you what came through the church.
Okay,
So, when that happened, the board decided to move forward because there was a short amount of time to do that. That being said, there is nothing saying we're buying anything. This is up to you, up to the people. There's all kinds of contingencies. We're getting it inspected, so your sewer and your water and all your inspections will be done. We're getting it inspected. We have an out with the lawyers look at it and say there's something wrong. We have an out if the vote doesn't go through. Finances, we have the buying money. We would look afterwards for renovation money at the town hall. We will let everybody know that once we decide to do the warrant. You know, to put what's going to be in the warrant. So when you will know if it doesn't pass the inspection, then we can just pull out. If we figure it's gonna cost more than the church is worth, we can pull out. But we'll bring all that to the people. This is nothing that the board is making a decision on.
I understand, but will we know before the special warrant?
We will have meetings before the special,
Yeah.
so we will have it on our
Okay.
We're
agenda.
not
on the meeting.
sure how we're going to do the notice, if we're going to mail it to everybody with information in there, 10 days before the meeting, or if we're just publishing it we haven't talked about that yet. If we publish it in the newspaper, then we're not gonna put all the, finances in there, because it's too much. So we might just mail everything, we don't know.
And we can also have, during our select board meetings, we can mention it on, so it will be in the minutes.
Yep. Peter?
So to get back to the town knew about it, I'm just curious who talked about it, like it got together and when that happened and who decided to use the town money for the down payment, for all the inspection stuff, like you guys had to
We
have
won't
met
get that
to discuss
back.
that.
The
We met last
inspections.
meeting to decide, was it last meeting?
Last week,
Or
we
the-
met
the
with a special,
emergency-
with the emergency meeting,
Yep.
last Thursday, Wednesday or
Yep.
Thursday.
Which
Father-
was
Because
just
he said,
consisted of
"I'm
executive
done."
session and then that's see you later. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, it just seems kind of backdoorish and I
Not
know
at
that
all.
you're not saying it is, but from our perspective, like it just kind of looks like, hey, by the way, we put a deposit down and put a full offer on the property. And it's like, so there's already a cash full price offer. The church could 1000% say, we're putting this on hold until the town can get their stuff together. There was no rush. There is no rush. I bought enough property. I own enough property to know
Right,
that
the
we
church-
can
The
say,
church did put it on hold.
okay, no, you
Till
didn't
the
have
town
to.
meeting.
My point is, you didn't have to put a bid in. You could have said, we need to go in front of the town. Can you put this on hold for 30 days? And they would have said, no problem, I guarantee
The
it.
church could have done that. I don't know what they would
I
have
just,
said.
that's where my concern is
That
all of a
wasn't-
sudden it's just money.
That wasn't brought up at the town, at the church meeting.
Any of the deposit we're getting back, full deposit, we'll get
Right.
back.
There's nothing backdoor about this, Pete. Not,
I'm not saying there is, I'm just saying it appears that way because I understand the financing part and I understand if we're gonna do cash and I understand if you're gonna put a bid in, you gotta do it in a certain amount of time. Like I get all that, but if the church is the one holding the cards, which you're saying they are, we could have simply said, hey, we're gonna have an emergency town meeting, let's
I don't
get
know if the
everybody
church would-
involved,
I don't
let's
know
vote
if the
to
church
put an
would
offer in.
have waited that long to have the meeting
No.
and then, when they already have a bid at the same amount. I don't know.
I wanted to wait until March, and they didn't wanna wait until March.
Well, they don't have to wait till March, they could just wait it for the next board meeting, which was,
Well, we have to have a special, we could have done
Right,
it here,
but-
but, oh boy,
According to what the answer from the church was, is they weren't waiting. So, I wasn't at that meeting, I was just at the finance meeting. But the church itself, the decision comes from Father Shelton. So he decided that's what he was gonna do. He gave the town all the provisions to say, we'll wait for a vote, and so on. So that vote is giving you that time period. There's no backdoor anything. And I know you keep saying you're not saying it, but you are saying it. And
it
that's
just,
what I'm saying.
it just appears that way from a,
And I'm
from a-
telling you again, there is none. I'm sorry that you think that, but there is none.
So
It's
when
just
the
an
real-
opportunity
Carol-
being brought forward, you either want it or you don't want it.
Carol,
Correct, you could,
Simple
everybody
as
can
that.
vote no.
or Lori, or, I
Yeah.
don't know who added up.
So when the Realtor called me, she called me in the morning and said, we have 2 bids on the table. We are aware that the town is interested. I need an answer by noon. If you're interested and you are interested enough to sign a document and move forward, or you're not. And when I asked if how long we had, she said they don't wanna heat it, they don't wanna deal with it over the winter, they have other buyers, so you either need to say yes by noon, or we will proceed to the next buyer. And we did not have any more time than that, and they did allow us to have the 55-day window to pull a special town meeting together so that it could go for a town vote. But that was all the time they were willing to give us.
I mean, that makes total sense, I don't disagree that they could come to you guys with that specific words, but in the other sentence, they're saying, we don't wanna heat this, we don't wanna do anything with it, but they got 2 full price offers that are cash. In my brain, they're saying, I gotta get rid of this because I don't wanna sell it, why aren't they just taking the full price cash offer? Rather than coming to us, I mean, that's just the stuff that
I
I
think
think
there's
about.
more to it than money.
The
think there's
parishioners
more to
that
it.
have
You
always,
gotta- I guess you
that
have to go
always
talk to the
contributed,
church about
as
that.
well as the town, there's
You know,
always
you weren't-
supported.
I know we are.
I would guess that
I
the
think
church
it's
wants to
wonderful.
see it go to the town, that they've been a church in
And
for.
there is gonna be a stipulation
A long
in the
time.
deed that it cannot be used for anything sordid, and that will stay in the deed according to Father.
Oh, I'm out then.
I knew that.
No, so, we gotta see who they're selling it to. That's-
It's just,
So doesn't mean
it's
we
just
can't
an
have
opp-
only you card games.
Yeah.
Come
it's
on.
an opportunity coming forward for the town, and I can guarantee you there's not gonna be another opportunity within the village center for a long time.
Carolyn,
This is it.
Carolyn,
2 questions.
yes,
One, how much did you offer?
yeah.
2, is there a plan in place for the decisions about how the building gets used? What's the process that you guys are envisioning?
Well, we offered the asking price, 175.
Okay.
As far as use afterwards, we haven't discussed that because we wanna wait and see what happens at town meeting.
I'm not asking about what you want to do with it, I'm asking, do you have a plan in place for a process?
No,
Okay,
Do we
I
have a
think
plan in
that
place
would
for
be
that?
an important
no,
thing to put forward in the warrant is what the process of decision-making about how the building gets used.
no.
Because I think that is one of the big concerns that everybody has.
Right.
We own this building, we can't agree on what time to have a meeting, so how we can all agree.
I understand that.
On what to do with the
I actually
building.
agree with you. There is going to be resistance on both sides, and I agree with that. That's why it's going to a vote. A couple of the examples of what it can be used for would be historic building. We have our historic
Artifacts.
artifacts, yeah, thank you.
Papers,
Are stored in the closet over here in the school.
in the
you know?
janitor's
So
closet.
we don't have, I mean, they're not gonna last. We have, and I don't really wanna get into too much of it, but Kurt probably can get into more of it about the grant money available in a village center. It's just amazing.
I'm aware.
Historic thing. Also a community center, there's many things that we could use it for, like a voting center, that the school doesn't have to be interrupted anymore. There's a lot of ideas. And you know, if you're right, we should have a process, and we will, and, there is, you know, I thank you for that. And we will have to do some renovation, and that'll be a slow process of starting with the downstairs, in my mind at least, if I'm even around by then. But, you know, I just, think that that would be a good goal. I hear a lot of residents always, I've only lived here 10 years. By the way, I've been on the board for 10 years too, so anybody wants to step in, I'm getting tired of it. But that, nevertheless, you know, I hear a lot of people say, geez, before you got here, we had an opportunity for this, and now we have nothing, we can't use the school property unless we ask permission, or the school's in process, we can't go down there if there's children there. This would be an opportunity, so those are some examples that I was thinking of.
To, your question, I would say that we would have to have some kind of community outreach, listening session, something like that, to get feedback on what people would wanna do with the building and the property. There's quite a bit of land
In
there.
my experience, people, do not necessarily show up for those kinds
Well,
of
we'll have
meetings.
the opportunity to do that. That's all we can do is
Yeah.
let them know that it's opportunity is there, and they come or not.
Okay, any other questions? CJ?
I have some concerns about the emergency meeting and how it was, I don't know, not conducted. Here's the thing, the, notice came out without any reference to what, statute was going to be used for the executive session. I didn't know until tonight what the time frame was, but you had a select board meeting scheduled for 2 nights past that. It doesn't seem like the church, given all the conversations I've heard, like the church would say, no, we can't wait 2 days for you to bring it together. My other issue is in the minutes from that meeting, the statute listed for going into executive session was a discussion with legal counsel. But yet in the minutes of that, there's no mention that the lawyer was talked to, only a phone call to the real estate agent. And so I'm questioning, is that really a valid executive session?
At the select board's meeting, we went into executive session, I believe it was for 2 legal matters. We have 2 pending. And like Bill asked, will the town eventually know? Yes, you will know, but we can't say at this point. So
So,
as far as the emergency, or special meeting, or emergency meeting, or maybe we should have said special, or quick meeting, or work session, but we had to have a meeting. And we did go right into executive session because we were discussing a contract.
Which is perfectly legal.
So, we're not trying to hide anything.
No.
There's no shade on any of this.
No.
It's
I'm not trying
It's
to
just an
imply,
opportunity that's thrown out there.
Can I
The
finish?
town can vote for it or not.
I'm not to imply anything was done shady. I'm just concerned with the paper trail and the process that non-select board members are seeing, myself mainly.
Mhm.
And it seems like this board goes into executive session every meeting.
Yes, because we've had a legal problem ongoing for quite a while.
Okay.
And not the church.
Just recently, we've
The
been
church
going
just
into
came up.
executive session every meeting, but prior to that, we really don't go into executive session at all, compared to the school board has it on their agenda every meeting. So we have this legal matter, so we have to have that on every meeting for the last 4 months, I think it was.
That's fine. But, so, when you cite the reason for the executive session, talking to the lawyer, that covered one of the issues in the executive session. Do you not have to also cite the other?
Yeah, this is a legal contract we were discussing,
For the church?
Just legal matter.
both the
A real
church
estate
and the other.
contract.
Yeah.
Negotiating a real estate contract.
Yes, they're both under
Executive
legal
session.
matters.
Okay.
And we
Yes,
have,
they are.
They are, Bill.
Okay, that was my
if you
question.
disagree, that's fine.
There's better wording to use
Well, sorry.
For what? For legal contract or?
for discussing a contract, and that making it public would be to the, would be
Well, we
leave,
did-
would leave the town at a disadvantage.
Okay.
We're not trying to hide anything, we do the
Because
best we
it has
can.
to do with
and go
lawyer, it
into
doesn't
executive.
make it technical.
We said legal matters, we didn't say lawyer, but that's all.
I got a C minus in vocab.
I mean, again, if we waited to the 2 days after, which we couldn't because the realtor said we had to noon that day. Trust me, I left work to go to that meeting, okay? So it wasn't like any of us wanted to go to that meeting. It wasn't a shady deal by any means. But if we went 2 more days, if the church had allowed us or realtor allowed us to do that, the outcome would have been exactly the same. The opportunity, 2 more days wouldn't have mattered in my mind, and I don't believe the rest of the board believes that. So it would have been, the outcome would have been the same on that particular contract. But we had the other issue to do to see.
Again, it's just the optics of it
Mhm.
seems off. And having heard the explanation now, I'm fine with it.
We probably will go into executive session next meeting for a legal matter,
Yeah.
because it's not settled yet. Probably
It's
not
no
this-
fun.
Probably not this one. This
No
one's
fun.
out now. Deb?
Just real quick, rumors fly, so
Yes.
I would love to have it cleared up. Nancy, are you on the board for the diocese also?
I am on the finance committee, yes.
So
Actually, she's not.
conflict of
She's on the
interest?
board she's on the board, I'm sorry, Nancy, but,
Am I
You-
picked up?
no, you were on the board for John Bosco, which is closed now. You're not on the board for
St. Joe.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
she isn't on the existing board at this moment. Only I am. And that board met prior to this, all this going on. It was, I'm gonna say 2 weeks before any of this happened.
So you don't feel that's a conflict?
Not at all,
Okay.
not at all.
Nancy, you don't feel it's a conflict? Signing a document without representation, just curious. Okay.
No, I'm fine.
I mean, the
I'm
finance
not getting
committee,
any finance
yeah,
gain
the
out of
finance
it.
No,
committee
no,
up at the
no,
church is
I'm just perception again, I'm
Yep.
kind
The
of
finance
feeding
committee
off
at the
that.
church has no authority at all, zero. They're just a advisory board. They just talk and to the
Yep.
priest. The priest makes every decision there is, including, he makes decisions even without the diocese. It's just the priest that makes the decision.
We have no say.
You
We
can
can
contact
advise.
him, you can ask him all the questions, I'm sure he would be more than grateful to give you answers. He makes all the decisions, trust me, whether you disagree or agree.
Okay? Can we, Marta?
So between now and the 25th, as well as the purchase price, will there be some sort of an estimate for the other costs that will happen over time, and how will those be
We're working on
calculated?
that, yeah.
Okay, so maintenance over time, what if something happens, okay.
I can
And that will
actually.
come before,
I can get some of the, I was just talking to Kurt about it, or John, what is it? I can get the utility cost, although, of course, the church doesn't have the electricity cost that we would have if we had it open more often.
Or
But
the
the
heat.
heat would be pretty similar.
Well, yeah,
I mean-
we only turn the heat up one day, so.
Yeah, but
Well, we don't know how
Yeah.
many days the,
yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
can just
it'll be
see where
more.
that is and what the usage is for that day.
Can I ask one more question?
yes,
Unless someone else has one. Do we know yet what the charge will be to the town for the 175,000 as far as tax increase?
Depending on how we do it,
how we finance it.
we have the buying money. Okay, so we have, I guess what you would call separate accounts for almost like a rainy day type account. If we use that, we have the buying money now, so we don't have to borrow any money. We can use that money to buy it. If we ask, which we will ask for renovation money, if that renovation money, just for numbers, it was $100,000 to renovate it. Nancy did the numbers on a $50,000 loan, so that $50,000 a year
Payback.
payback, it's approximately $80 on a $350,000 house. So
Per capita?
Per
per
your
300
house,
per
Per
$350,000 value. So if you're less
Okay.
than that, it would be less. So
Resident,
about
non-resident.
$80. So this would be $40 because it would be about approximately at 100,000 in 5 years, it'd be about 25,000 a year.
But then do we have to replace 175 in the rainy day fund?
We don't need to replace a rainy day fund, but we have been putting money into those accounts. So we don't need to replace, similar to the fire department. You know, you guys put away so much money, you bought your truck now, you don't need to put that money away, but you could. So that would go back to a warrant in a regular town meeting.
Okay.
So if we wanted to say, okay, we took $100,000 out of a rainy day fund, which I don't know what a rainy day fund's used for except for the future of the town, that makes sense to me at least.
Or
Just like you, yeah, we have emergency money too, but I'm saying if we take and, the fire department bought a $500,000 truck, but didn't have $500,000. But before you bought the truck, you were putting $50,000 a year in towards that price. So when we borrowed the money, it was less. Understand?
Yeah.
So now you bought the truck, we're making the payments. We could still at the town meeting now say a warrant to continue to put that $50,000 into the fire department. So 5-10 years from now, we might have enough to put down on the $1 million fire truck we're gonna have to buy 10 years from now. That's not even out of line. We know, you know.
Is the rainy day fund, and forgive my ignorance on this, is the rainy day fund continually added to every year?
No.
Could-
Oh,
I was thinking-
we didn't,
I
no.
don't think it has been.
So that
We-
will be an increase next year, if we decide to
If you decide,
bump the
yeah,
rainy day back up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
because,
So we'll have the increase for the renovation, the increase for the rainy day fund.
If you vote on it.
if you.
Correct.
Right, if you vote on it.
And any upkeep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then my last question is, how much comes off the tax roll because that will now be town property?
it's not taxed
It's
right
not
It's
now.
not tax, it's never been
taxable.
taxable
Church.
as a church.
Okay.
Now,
If it goes
it
in-
could have very well been on the tax roll if someone else buys it. That is a good
Right.
answer.
That's right.
If the people that bought it are a nonprofit organization or they implement that, then it wouldn't have taxes. So that's, you know, there were two offers on the table and there could have been taxes brought in. So that's a good question. You know, I look at it like, you know, there will be expense to this. Anybody who thinks there's not gonna be expense, that's crazy. Of course, it's just, again, I hate that, I'm not picking on the fire department, but I'm using the fire department as an example that I think I said at the town meeting, if you don't want a fire department, don't vote yes. And eventually there won't be a fire department, there won't be any trucks left, right? So you had that choice, but if you want a fire department, vote yes, you know, buy the truck. Same thing with this, if you don't want a future of somewhere to go and have, you know, a center or whatever we decide to do with it, don't vote. It's gonna cost money, I don't think anybody thinks it's not.
Is it possible, assuming it goes through, you set up a committee or whatever to determine what to do with it, who can use it, and so on? Is it within the law to charge for its usage? Is that possible?
I believe
So
it
that
is.
is-
I believe
Anything
it is.
I've dealt with like that is request a donation
Yeah.
of,
Okay,
So that,
I recommended.
because I'd like to
think
see
they
it
charge
generate
for-
revenue to, even just for upkeep.
Right.
sure, if you wanted to
Janitor
have,
fee.
say, a bridal shower or a baby shower or something, and you're a town resident, we say, hey, can you give a donation? And the donation could be $100, the
$100,
recommended
whatever.
donation, like the
Yeah.
church does, the church does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, you wanna use the center down there, the recommended donation's $100. We're not charging you, but if you don't give me the donation next time around, we might not let you use it.
yes,
You know?
yeah, I get it, I
Yeah.
get it.
I just have a question about something else with Consolidated. Could I just buzz it by you?
Yeah.
I called them at the beginning of the summer and asked them when they were gonna remove the telephone pole and the rocks and the gravel that they left all over my mother's lawn. And they assured me that they'd be there within a couple weeks to take care of it. They came, they cut 4 feet off the top of the pole, and they haven't been back since.
Same
Is
with
there a
mine.
deadline for them to finish this project, or are they just gonna leave rocks and gravel on everybody's lawn for the next 10 years?
I don't know anything to do with Consolidated.
I don't know if you guys could put pressure on them or not.
We cleaned up around the pole because Jim wanted to mow it, because it was a rock pile,
Yeah.
gravel and rocks.
There is down there too.
They left cable in front of my
Oh,
son's house,
everything,
yeah. We will try to reach out to
I
them.
didn't know if the public service board
I don't know
could
if we
get
can
on.
put a
or
squeeze
what.
on, you know, it's a private thing between the buyer, but we can reach out to them, I would say, and send them a letter at the very least.
I mean,
And say that the residents are unhappy with the way everything was left, could you come back and clean up a little bit?
they assured me they were gonna clean it up and they
Yeah.
never came back.
I mean, I don't have a problem with sending them a letter.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sure,
can we
still have
move
wire?
on to the warrant now?
Yes, telephone wires are still up there. They haven't transferred them to the new pole.
I have a couple different articles on here.
Well,
So, Article 1 is, I think we're kind of in agreement that we do not want to finance this. We want to use the money that we have to buy the building outright.
So I think Laurie sent the email to us about the interest rates, and if I'm not mistaken, it's around, hovering around 7.5%.
Between 7 and 9.
Yeah, so I'd rather use the money that we have, you know, inflation makes money in the bank go down, not up, so I'd rather use the money in the bank. And like we talked about on an executive session, and I'd like to, you know, keep it at that and then ask for renovation money, which would be a lot less on the borrowing side.
Which we don't know where it'll be yet until the inspection.
Right.
Right, that could be, you know, a deal breaker. You know, they come in and say, hey, look, we gotta spend $1 million on this, and you just say, thank you, see you later. And that,
And thank you.
in that inspection, we don't have to give that to the other buyers or anything, that's our inspection, we paid for it,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's our
You
due
know?
diligence as buyers.
Yep,
But a renovation is gonna be dependent on the use, the intended use.
correct. But we know that we're good, if we get an inspection, they say, you need a new sewer system,
Okay.
that's
There's
$40,000.
Yeah.
Then if they say. you need-
That's all?
Yeah, that's all.
I think it's more than that.
So I could get you a bid on that building for less than 40,000, but if you're buying something more than that, let me know, I'll help you out, man.
If it's gonna be a public space, I'm sure.
I paid 28 for it.
If it's a public space, we'll probably have to
And that's
have
a six-bedroom
sprinkler
system.
systems.
Yeah.
You know, a sprinkler system would have to be installed.
Yeah, that was my question. Does it have to be fully
ADA
ADA compliant?
compliant.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a list of about 40 grants right there for the village center designation. I haven't, I'm not a big grant guy, I haven't thoroughly studied through them. Anybody's welcome to look at it, it's public knowledge. But there is the potential for a lot of money to be available to bring the place into compliance.
But there's no guarantee you get the grant, right?
Right.
Well,
Somebody had
because
building,
because
might
it's
get
in
the
a
grant.
village center designation, it will probably more than likely we'll have a pretty good shot at getting that grant.
Probably more than likely.
A lot of
I like
times,
that.
we even applied for the village center, we did. So we made that decision,
2 or 3 years ago, Deb, you were on
Yep.
for,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, how come, I mean, why would you forego this financing? I'm sorry, I'm stuck on it. Why wouldn't you just go forward with a finance contingency and use the money, or rainy day money, at the back end? I mean, if you give up, I have a tough time. I mean, money in the bank's money in the bank. It should be, rainy day fund is there for a reason. Why not go through the financing? Why not secure something? You don't have to sign at the end of the day. You can back away from that. Why would you do that if that's all we have?
I can only speak for myself, but from my opinion, it would be to try to lessen the burden on you as taxpayers.
Either
to
way,
not
you're gonna
pay
have a
so much
loan.
money.
Either way, you're gonna have a loan. And it's less expensive to get your primary financing than secondary financing. It
we're
is.
we're asking for the financing from the bank for renovation, and that interest rate is about the same as getting the primary. We would still use the equity from the building if we ended up buying it. And that, again, it's, to me, as a business person, it is much better to spend money under your pillow and then hold on to it for years. And a dollar bill goes down every year.
I
In the
don't know.
last 4 years,
I
it's gone
understand.
between 9 and 15% less buying power. That dollar bill, because you get no money for it.
You'll just know what it is today.
Exactly.
No,
But we
if you
also know what we're
finance
paying
now.
back.
If you,
Exactly.
I've been on,
Me too.
the
I
side
take a
of
loan out
finance.
every 5 years.
yeah,
For
I
the
get
last
it.
35 years.
I just think as a community, we should hold on to our money. My opinion.
I disagree.
That's
We
fine.
have $32,660 in one fund. That's the future needs fund.
It's been sitting there for quite
Quite a few years probably, because we use some
Rainy
for
day.
broadband.
What is the rainy day for?
We used some to build this addition, and it was, all this money was received from the sale of Alpenwall lots when we had the big tax sale out in the gym, and probably in 2006. Yeah, I think that might be it.
2006.
Maybe the money from the Grange that you sold back then too.
No, I don't know where that went, that's not in there. That's
wishful
before my
thinking,
time,
maybe.
so that's not in there. But I think at one time from the sale of the Alpenwall, we had probably 100,000 or so. And like I said, it went for this edition, broadband, and I think there was something else that we used it for. I have to go back in town reports and see that.
So you were talking about the funds.
So that's a 32 there. The other one is the invested funds. We have about 161,000 in that. That fund is from when people sold their land to National Forest. We lost money. So the select board at that time in the late 80s, mid-80s, asked the person that was selling their land to please give us some money in lieu of taxes that we're losing. I don't know if the National Forest was structured, if they structured their payments to the town back then, or if I don't know what we did, but the selectmen asked for money. It was put in there. Every year Lori takes money out of this account to help reduce your taxes. And what do you usually take out, 8,000?
I think of the interest that's
The interest.
accumulated over
Yeah,
the
the
year.
interest.
So there will be an impact when you remove that money from an investment fund. You'll pay taxes on that.
Right.
So that
We'll
will
pay
help you.
taxes on it? No, it's in a money market.
Right.
Oh,
But you're,
money market.
yeah, but she does in lieu of taxes, it does.
In lieu of to help
The
you
interest.
taxes.
I understand.
Yeah, but a lot less money than if we
But it's
borrow
not
at
invested
9%,
where you have
right?
to pay taxes
No.
on whatever
No.
increase.
It was at one time, we were really getting good
But
money for that, but a town can't do that. We have to be more secure. But we learn these things over the years that we
Is
can't
there
do.
anything left after you buy the building, if it is approved? Is there anything
not
left?
much. Now we close the
No,
cost, we
no.
close the cost of property.
It was a lot there, because we figure inspection costs, attorney closing fee, transfer tax due to the state.
What do we come up, 192
Well,
or
I'm thinking of the
175?
weather
It's
events,
not
like
gonna be enough to.
The microblast that we had at Bundy's Road and some other people experienced it. If we had an emergency, what money do we have left to deal with it? What if this building got lifted off its foundation?
Insurance.
Insurance.
Just say,
Everything's insured.
We may have a warming center potentially if we
Right.
purchase a building.
We'll have a second building to go through, but everything is insured.
And that building is not in the floodplain. Some of the land in back is, but the
One thing I
building
think
is
in
not.
this, I'd like to put this as public knowledge, is the building wasn't taxable, but it was insured for the value that the insurance company said was $356. So that number showed, there's an opinion, I think the church sold it for a lot less than we could have sold it for. But that's just an opinion on my side. It just seems like it was a pretty fair price for the church put it out there. But, if you look at what buildings are selling for in this town right now, you guys all got your evaluations, that building will be definitely valued more than 175.
How much property is
That guy did it.
40.
About 40. And down and back is beautiful. Last week I walked it. It was the first time in 55 years that I walked down and back. Beautiful land, right to the river.
One of my,
It's kind of flat, but I mean, if you have a flood, it's gonna come up.
as money wise, you know, you say envision, but one of my, when I was looking at the, whether or not to decide if we were gonna sign this, if everything went through, the inspector said, hey, there's very minimal things that have to be done. So it wasn't this big bucks. If it was big bucks, we probably wouldn't go forward anyways. But if we went, let's just say we put 50,000 in renovations, just to bring it up to, you know, par. I don't know what codes are in Vermont or anything, but if we did that and a year goes by and we said, look, nobody's using this, no, we're not gonna, we put it back up for sale, and I don't feel we're gonna lose anything. And I just think that if you look at just the history of Stamford, you know, places are selling, I mean, they put things on the market, they're selling in 2 days. You know, so I just think that it's a good investment down the road. You know, that would be my opinion on the board, is that it's a good idea to purchase it. You know, we know there's 2 other bids, they must have thought the same thing.
One last question. If a private enterprise made a proposal to put, say, a coffee shop in there, would that be something that would be entertained by the board? Would that be thrown into the mix of possible uses?
The town could lease space.
That's what I'm asking, because I don't know the inside of the space, whether it's dual use or.
That's probably one of the things that could happen in there. I mean, we're not even there yet.
That's not out of the realm of possibility, so.
No, it's a good idea, actually.
Is the inspection due to happen like soon?
Yeah.
So
Saturday.
will we all get a copy of that report? Because it'd be
Probably. I
interesting
don't
to
know
see
that.
on our end.
I don't know that probably, because
Well, Mike said that it wouldn't be shared with,
I don't know if that's in the
Others.
best interest of the town right now to
I
give
don't
a
know.
copy out. Because if that copy got out to the other bidders, you know, they
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I don't know if that's fair to the church to do that, but, I mean, I think that if there's I think that the people should know what the expense would be.
Least
Whatever.
estimates of what
Right.
they find.
Right, if there's, if
What
there's,
the
like I said, if
cost
this,
might
yeah,
be.
if this, if, you know, if they come back and they say this is gonna be $500,000 to renovate this, you know,
Yeah.
that's just a no-brainer, you know? But I think.
Inspections don't usually do that though, they just say what's wrong.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask Deb,
Yeah,
too.
well,
Yeah,
you know,
they don't.
let's just say that the sewer needs to get replaced, and let's just say it's more than 40,000, let's go 60,000, right? So that's $60,000, a lot of money. And then they say you gotta put an artesian well in, that's another 15, 20,000. So now you're up to $80,000 before you do any carpentry work, you know? So then we can look at it and say,
So do
this is
we-
getting too much, we can.
Do we have somebody in mind that's going to, I mean, I'm sure the attorney or whomever, I just know that when Pownell went through all of, you know, when they bought, did they build a new center? It was, I think, in excess of $1 million. So for us to bring a municipal building up to ADA compliancy, I can only imagine the expense. I know people who have had to go through it just to add an apartment down in Massachusetts, different, but, you know, sprinkler system isn't cheap. Your insurance rate, of course, goes up once you put sprinklers in. So all of these things, I mean, we have such a small time to get these numbers together before the meeting, and we all have to know, and it's gotta get out to the townspeople. They have to,
Sure.
that's what I said in the beginning, and so, do you have people lined up? Because the inspection contingency is kind of short.
November or something. We can ask also for extra time anytime we want. They actually said to us, just give them a call, and they will change that.
I think they wanna work with us.
Yeah, if the inspection took longer, or if it took longer for us to get those contractors to give us
Mhm.
bids, if we find that out. Can't ask contractors until you find out what you need.
Right,
Right.
So
right.
we can call the church, put it right in there. Well, they said they would put whatever we need in there as long as we're moving forward. So the realtor was wonderful. And
But she's not looking out for your interest. She's looking out for,
She's looking out for
The
her
Catholic-
pocketbook.
Well, she's
yeah,
donating
she's
the money
looking
back
out-
to the church.
well,
So I guess that's not true.
y-
but-
Wow.
it's still,
Sorry.
she's still not representing you.
Oh,
and
no,
hope-
I understand.
Yeah,
I
so
understand.
she may be sweet and kind, but
Yeah,
beware.
yeah, because some realtors can do that, I understand.
Mhm.
So I was gonna ask you this, the inspectors, they will tell us what is wrong.
They will identify issues that you should be aware
And
of.
then
Yeah.
we would get our own contractor in.
Right.
How
I
much
mean-
to bring this electric up to code, how much for ADA, how much for septic, water.
Yeah.
Or you could go back to the diocese and say, you know what, it's gonna cost us X amount,
Yeah,
Yep.
let's reduce the price
Yep,
by this amount.
that's actually what I did when I put my sewer in.
Mhm.
I said to the the seller, I said, look, it's gonna cost me 28,000, which was the middle bid, not the high bid, not the low bid, it was
Mhm.
A1, and that was my buddy, I wanted him to do it. And I said, this is what it's gonna cost, and, the seller said, no problem, you can't sell it until you do that anyway, so they had to do it.
Well, you can sell it if you don't have a
Yeah,
mortgage.
cash deal, I guess.
Cash deal, absolutely,
Who would want,
yeah.
who would wanna put a sewer in, so they did it, no problem.
Mhm.
okay. Can we move on to the warrant article? Which one do we want? Shall the voters of the town of Stamford authorize the purchase of the former St. John Bosco Church building located at 818 Main Road, Stamford, for the price of $175, and authorize, we don't want to authorize borrowing. Because we don't want the borrowing in there, right?
Right, these are a variety of different articles that the
I think we want article,
attorney
the
suggested.
third
We're gonna
article,
go all
that
the way
one.
down to 4 for borrowing, or some not borrowing, not to exceed 100,000,
But the first, I think what we
So-
want for the first article is the
period.
third article, one down.
So
this
not
one.
this one, not this one, the shorty.
Shall the town of Stamford purchase the former St. John Bosco building located at 818 Main Road for the price of $175? Yes or no? If it's no, we're done, Paul,
Okay,
right?
yes, ma'am,
Okay.
whatever you say. I'll be there.
I hope
And I am
so.
gonna request paper ballots, so we know what.
I just don't understand why you would not sign that first one. Sorry, I'm hung up on that mortgage. You don't have to go through with it, but now you're taking that away. You're taking that out of the equation. It doesn't mean you have to finance it.
If the voters vote to finance it through a mortgage,
You have
that's
to
the
do it
voters'
that way.
vote.
Yeah.
That's it. They,
So
then
they
they
will-
can't.
Voters tell you to do it that way, you gotta do it that way.
God,
So
I
we
just
have
don't
to
wanna
decide.
see every penny that we have in security.
Do you wanna do
But
half and
that's
half?
me.
pay half of it and finance it.
No, don't, I'm
No,
I'm
I
just,
think that if you need money,
it's just
you
my
go
Do
borrow.
it the way
security.
you're doing it.
Yeah.
We have insurance for any building, any truck, any vehicle that we have in town. We have insurance for all that. We have insurance for the contents of the town garage and the contents of this place. Any emergency that I can foresee, if the generator went out, the school has money. Right? So I just don't see any emergency that we would need at this point, that we wouldn't be able to go to the bank and borrow money and be back in that same situation.
And borrowing money from these accounts, we borrowed it for the fire truck, we borrowed it to pay for our own vehicles. I
We paid
think
back
that we,
$250,000 on 100, 200 and something thousand, be more than that. You'll be double the money, you know that, over 5 years. It just, to me, the interest rates are too high at this time. I mean, we could very well, by the time we sign and do it, it could be 8-9%.
Might even get that far.
I don't think, if the townspeople don't want it, I don't think we have to worry about that, so. Personally, I just think that it's financially responsible to not borrow money and not have to pay that much back versus the dollar in your, like I said, you put a dollar on your pillow, that dollar goes away. I mean, think about it,
I agree.
You guys put a dollar on your pillow when you were 18, how much is it got buying power now. You could get a whole tank of gas back then.
Taxes took it all away anyway.
Exactly, there you go.
So somebody's making money.
So where are we going with the third article? Third
Did we
article
read number
number,
two?
third article number 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
one.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then, Article 2. So we're gonna buy it, now we've got to come up with the money. Shall the town of Stamford release and deplete the balance in the future needs fund, estimated to be $32,660 for the use and purchase price,
Motion.
for use toward the purchase. This, what's that, Lori?
You wanna change it? Toward,
No,
toward what?
toward what?
Oh,
If you're
yeah,
changing
yeah,
the
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that's okay, right?
For, toward the, just take out for use?
Just take that out, just towards the purchase prices.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we have to say release and deplete because this fund was set up that select board could not just spend it willy-nilly how he wanted it. It had to go to the townspeople
Yep,
to release it.
motion.
Second. Third.
All in favor? Shall the town of Stamford release up to $155,000 from the invested funds towards the purchase price? And that 155 will hopefully include the inspection, the closing fee, transfer tax due to the state, reporting fee.
So I have a
Oh, wait a
question
minute,
on that.
we can waive recording fee.
Okay, but I have a question on this though, on this part of it. We're getting an inspection, we have to pay that anyways. If this is up going to the town vote, it would hit, where's the money coming from for the inspection in the first place?
Comes out of select board budget,
Okay.
and
I just-
it's not in a line item,
Right,
so
so it's gonna be over budget
on that
on that.
one line item,
That's
because we
fine.
don't always put,
Okay. People know that we're doing this, but we have to use money.
we don't
That
put
was my
extra
question.
money in,
Huh?
That was my question, where was the
Yeah,
money
well, the
coming?
inspection money, we're gonna have to pay it before this goes to a vote, so if the vote is no, we're out with inspection money.
What kind of septic inspection are you going to do?
I'm not
Basic
sure.
one.
Basic?
If 1 and 2 pass but 3 doesn't, what happens?
We don't have the money,
Oh, yeah.
we can't buy it.
Okay,
oh,
so it kills,
Yeah.
This is
kills the early
contingent to
two?
the financing, if we don't have the money, if you guys don't pass the money, we can't buy it. We go back to the church.
well, wait a minute, that's right, so if
So
Article
we-
1 passes, the
There's your
town,
finance
people
problem right
say
there.
we wanna buy it, for 175, they say yes, but they don't finance it.
We can't buy it. We
Maybe
tell
wanna
them we can't buy it.
swap the order and put one at the end.
So you guys are doing a Title V inspection?
That-
Yeah.
that's-
You're not doing a Title
I-
V inspection? I know it's not required
Right.
in Vermont, but I'm just asking if, so you're, no.
You-
Shouldn't it be all one warrant?
Why,
Agree to pay 175 and
I know that
I
Article
don't know
2,
funds to pay.
I know Article 2 has to be a separate warrant, because that is.
We gotta release the
We
money.
have to release that. Article 2 must be separate. Just by
But
the way it went.
155, not so much.
No, so.
So you could wrap that in.
I just don't think it really, yeah, I mean, either way, we have to, if you're gonna all vote to buy it and then you vote not to have the financing, that was fun, let's have, you know.
You can't really take money out of the invested funds without
Without,
town voting.
right, so I mean, either way, you can put it in one, it doesn't matter to me, you know. If everybody goes there and votes yes and doesn't vote for the financing, and you know that you can't do it without, you buy it without the financing, you know, shame on you guys.
We're done.
We'll go out and have a beer.
We're done.
We can add that to the sign problem. Oh, I should never have mentioned that, I'm sorry.
We weren't gonna say that word anymore. So does that make sense here, or what we're doing, 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Lori, yes?
Oh, I was looking for inspection information on the septic system. What they, and I don't know anything about Title V, what this one would
It's
do
not
is,
easy.
it's just a little camera that
it
goes
would
in.
provide a scope that goes from the building to the main, to the tank, to the D-box/leach field.
So-
It would
Yeah,
check all
that's,
these out.
that's a
That's-
full
He's
inspection.
scoping.
That's a $900 inspection right there.
Well, that's what,
Yeah.
that's what we're getting.
Okay,
We just
so
don't
it's
know
not a simple
terminology.
one. That's a Title V.
This company called it a basic.
Yeah,
Maybe that's all they
They're,
do.
that's what their regular inspection.
Okay. Who's doing the inspections?
Norway Hill Home Inspectors.
And he does both, or they do the septic?
Yes,
And is the water going out for testing?
they will be doing that.
So we will know if
Description
we,
below with basic, okay.
Mhm.
Foundation, structure, roof, porches, decks, electrical, plumbing, windows, doors, heating, AC, appliances that are permanently installed,
Big company.
yard drainage.
Oh, good.
Drainage.
Garage,
Let's fix that.
Yeah.
See,
Hey, you should be happy you got water right now. It's so dry out there. My well,
There's
my
no
well
water.
was,
There's no water.
no.
you have a shallow well?
Yeah.
You still,
It's still good, but
yeah.
when we get a storm, everything off that parking lot comes right to our backyard.
I'm really confused about this financing business because if the town votes to buy the building, but then and there will be results of an inspection, right? Does the town vote on whether those costs?
That's coming. That's coming in the $100,000 we're asking for. Oh, not to exceed $100,000. And again, if these inspections come and they're way over this 100,000, we're gonna let you know that. I mean, we're not gonna, going forward, I would think that this board, and I'm just speaking for myself, not the whole board, if it comes in at $250,000, I don't see us buying that.
And that'll be before the vote for
We could
the
cancel,
warrant?
would we cancel town meeting or?
Yeah, we can pull out.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably contingent on the inspection, as soon as the inspection comes in,
We
it's
can-
all warrant.
We have a contingency for the inspection. If this comes back and we go, boy, we gotta put all this in there, we don't even need, I mean, just by, common sense, we know that a sewer's gonna cost in that ballpark, and we know that a well's gonna cost this much. If they come in and say, oh, look at, you got hazardous waste or something in the building, then that's gonna cost $100,000. We got, those type of things, we can just say, we're out. We
And
don't
then
wanna
the
get
meeting-
involved in
The
it.
meeting would not
No, we
even
just, that
happen.
would be it.
The warrant issue
Yep,
would be.
no, everything be null and void, yep.
Would it-
That's what the board
Have
would
you
be watching.
decided what number that is?
Well, we know we don't wanna go over 100,000 for renovation, so when we get that, if we're not sure, it'll be in the town meeting and we'll be able to decide that.
We'll
Would it-
have those estimates by November.
Yeah, if we weren't sure, say it was 75,000, and we said, well, people, this is what it's gonna cost just to renovate it, and it's 75,000 before we put any bells and whistles in this place, what do you think, should we move forward? Everybody might go, no,
So, but will there be multiple bids, then you have to go out to a contractor, you have to get multiple bids.
But
All this
multiple
in
bids
the
are
next month?
not necessary for the numbers at the town hall. Multiple bids are for getting a better deal later on. You could take, look, if I buy material, Carl wants a job done, I go, I'm looking up, my material guy says it's $1,000 for material. I tell him, job's $2,000. He says, deal, gives me a purchase order. Then I go by and I ask the next steel guy, and he goes, hey, it's a $700 for the same material. I don't go back and tell him. That's my due diligence to make money. That's what we would do if we got more than one contractor. But for town hall, we know that at least one bidder is gonna cost this much, whether high or low, it doesn't matter.
Before the.
Correct.
So all the numbers will be.
We will get as many
presented
numbers as we can by town meeting.
But we, if we wanna get a better deal, that'd be great, but the townspeople might say, look, we get 2 bids and one guy goes out of business next year.
Right.
So,
This is a
you wanna go the
lot of
high
work.
guy,
Who on the board, if you guys are gonna take this on, this is a lot of work between
Yeah.
now.
We're hiring out people right now for these inspections, and then we're gonna have to get contractors.
Oh, you already are doing
We have
Yeah.
people in mind too, the contractors, townspeople, some townspeople,
that.
that are licensed, insured. 'Cause we
And we're not,
can't hire my son even though he's probably the best carpenter in town.
We're not,
Can you put it out for bid?
no, we're not going out for bids, I'm thinking we're just
That's
gonna
a plug.
ask them to come, give us an estimate. We're
Right.
not going out for bids,
No, you don't
we
need
just
to.
need
You don't
one.
need to go
need
for
to.
bids for an estimate, you just
Yeah.
give them a general ballpark. of what
Right, you don't, yeah.
From a.
Like I said, if this is extraordinarily high, I think this board would go right back and say, that's it. I know I would push for that. I'm not gonna, I don't wanna go spending $1 million like Powell did on it, but they gotta, you know,
Modular.
and, yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
that's
like more
huge.
people to add on to this building at that point.
Yeah, this building, you know, has what we call good bones, you know, it's a good, you know, I've been through that. You know, my son has been through it because my son, we went down, we took all the pews out there, so we know what it looks like. And it's a good building, does it need work? Absolutely, absolutely. Does it have to get up to ADD compliant? You know, what does that entail? A ramp? Or does it entail more? You know, bathrooms? You know, so we'll look at that. If it's open, you know, if it's gonna be a, you know, educational system versus, you know, a senior center, that's a whole different ballgame, you know? But we can look into that down the road, you know?
Wasn't
But
the
yeah.
third floor condemned at one time? Not condemned, but not usable?
Third floor?
The second floor,
The second
The,
floor.
Bishop said we could not have catechism up there because of the way
Oh,
the
they-
rooms were set up.
There was no
Fire.
second egress.
Fire escape.
Ah,
Fire
Yeah.
escape comes,
Yeah, so,
the one set of stairs goes out to the road, the other set of stairs brings you down
Back into the
back
center.
into the building.
yeah.
And there was no central hallway upstairs, the rooms were like
Oh,
railroad,
no kidding.
no central.
so one of the things that, again, when you say envision, this is just me again. If I was gonna renovate this for the town, I would just, you know, put all my energy into downstairs at this time. Use the upstairs for storage for our historical stuff and, you know, and so on. I would go slow, make sure we're gonna use it before we put a lot of money into it. And that, I'm thinking that downstairs, and make some kind of center out of it for people that, you know, a social type of thing, see if it works. If this isn't working, if nobody's showing up, no one's using it, you know, is it feasible to keep paying for it? And put it up for sale, you know, that's what I'm looking at. Why would we go upstairs and start putting in, you know, a whole bunch of office space? I mean, we could like have an office for the AO or something, you know, a special office there. So you don't have to come in here. We could eventually bring the town office. You know, I'm not saying we will, I'm just saying there might be office space available upstairs that would be more private and it wouldn't be open to the public, you know?
As an abutter and with all the deed problems, is the property gonna be surveyed?
I haven't even.
There
looked
is
at that.
no, I know there is no survey, and we haven't talked about surveying it.
But if you want to survey
Excuse
yourself,
me?
if you want to survey yourself, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
I will,
I was kinda thinking the other way.
I got a surveyor, I'll tell you not to use.
Yeah.
I'll give you his name later.
Lori, back to the articles, would it make more sense to do Article 2 first, Article 3, and then vote on purchasing the church building?
It's kind of sneaky.
Bill, what do you think? Should
Are you
release-
gonna vote for money to finance something that you haven't agreed to?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I don't think it
The order
matters.
that you have is good. First, the decision that you're gonna go forward with buying it, 2, to release the money,
And 3 to
And then
the
have
rest of the money.
and 3,
Okay.
to get into against.
It just doesn't make sense, but I guess I've seen it, I thought I saw everything, but it doesn't make sense that the town would vote to pass this and not pass the budget. I mean, it just, to me, I'm like.
Somebody-
why would we-
Stranger things have happened.
Right, like I said, I thought I saw everything, but
Somebody could conceivably split and deny 2 and approve 3.
Yeah.
And give you the bulk of the money until you
we want to
go
do
borrow
something
the other
different. Yep, yep.
35,000.
But that would be a no then,
Well,
because you
It's a
don't
no.
have, you're not
It's a
doing
no
the
about
finance.
financing.
No, it's a no, they're not doing financing.
well,
At this,
read number 4 though.
oh,
Let's read it all.
are we gonna have, okay. Shall town state propose some not to exceed 1, if I 2 and 3 are passed.
So number 1 says that we're voting on,
Yeah,
just says we're buying it, doesn't say how we're financing it at this time.
right.
So it wouldn't be a no. So then the financing, if they did say that, we could add, we could put an amendment in, vote for an amendment to add that borough in, correct?
It's in there in 4.
Oh, four.
Yeah, four,
I
four.
crossed it, I can read it.
Shall town Stamford borrow a sum of not to exceed $100,000 if Article 2 and 3 are passed, or $288,000 if Article 2 and 3 are not passed. We can put an amendment in there, or if Article 2 is not passed, it's the difference.
Then you've got to change the purchase and sale, because it says it's not contingent upon financing. Number 7, you got to change it.
They don't have to change the purchase and sale if they don't use the
Right.
contingency.
The contingency
If
is in there.
if they then go back and say, hold on, we're going to be,
The
this is,
contingency is based on a town vote for all. Doesn't say
But
financing.
there is
it
a-
just says
there
town
there
vote.
is a number 7 in there that says this purchase and sale is not subject to financing, period. So if you're going to introduce financing,
We may have
yeah, number 7.
in the purchase and sales agreement.
I mean, it's very clear. That's what I was saying in the beginning. You signed saying you're not going to finance.
I think if you look
I
at the
think-
purchase in the front here.
Number 7.
So then you would lose your 10,000 if you came back. I mean, they could be jerks about it. If you came back to them and said, hey, we need to finance, and they're like, sorry, you forfeit your,
Waiting, you want it
your money.
sold now.
Yeah.
You want your cash.
So all I have to do is, or all we have to do is call them and say, in the first contingency, put all voting of the purchase or financing of the purchase has to be voted upon at town meeting. If it's voted down, then we can't do it. I'm just telling them to change that.
See, the hard part
And then you
is,
can,
So many ifs.
you could buy it with cash and own it, and then later finance 100, but.
right. And that's just a cookie cutter.
2 and 3
finance.
are voted down, and then you end up financing the whole caboodle. Now you got time to wait for the bank.
I think the attorney did say something about financing in the,
So we can just go
Yes, I
back to
have
them and
to
tell
look
them
and
change number 7 to is instead of is not. And then we would be covered, correct?
Right, but when I brought that up, you said, no, we can't because you're trying to get it, I mean, it's a catch-22 because you're trying to
What did
go
I say?
forward. You want it to be cash, you want to use our rainy day fund.
Right. So what
So,
did they have to do with number 7?
because
I'm just
now you're
asking what I
saying if 2 and 3, or one of 2 and 3 doesn't go through, you're throwing that financing contingency into the
All
mix,
right,
which
because
then it's
I'm
gotta go
looking
there.
at the contingency of saying the town voters voted no.
I would talk to the
Okay,
attorney on that one.
So what I would do, well, I don't think you need to, I think you just need
Okay.
to tell the church to put in a contingency, if any of the voting goes no, whether it's the financing or the
Use
purchasing,
of,
it's over.
yeah.
Yeah. The townspeople vote no, which again, I don't see why you would vote yes and not finance it.
Mhm.
So maybe you don't want that Article 4 the way it's written, you just wanna borrow 100,000 later after you buy it, and not have the second half of the article.
It should have been written, there should be another
Why don't we go back to
paragraph
what
in there.
Carolyn said, we put 1, 2, and 3 all in one article. Boom, done.
I
Then
think that's
4.
kinda,
You can define financing.
Of course
If
it
you,
will.
if you define financing and say financing means borrowing from yourself,
Right.
then you'd be covered. And just not fill in the percentage rates and everything, but you really need to define that if you're gonna put that in. I don't know, when I write these things, I don't just fill that little box, it's many pages, cause you really need to protect yourself. I'm not, it's the Catholic Church, I'm sure they're gonna not do anything, but,
You clearly weren't raised that.
no,
I was.
I was not.
Just kidding.
I'm not defending their financial
No.
status.
no.
No.
So do you want me to go back to the attorney and have him put that number
You
7
can-
in there?
you
I would
can,
just ask him.
But, I mean, I think you can go back to the church too and tell them this is what we're doing, so give us a couple minutes, you know? A couple days to make sure we do that,
Mhm.
you know? Don't, like they said, they'll add anything you want to that contract,
Mhm.
pretty much anything, except that they won't finance it for you.
They're broke.
Which is too bad. They need the money.
They need the money.
The church is not broke, the diocese is broke.
Yes.
Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
This goes, all this money goes right to the church, not the diocese.
Okay, good.
So we're agreeable with that, 1, 2, and 3. 4, what are we doing with 4?
Call it 5? Come on, that's a little funny.
You got a couple laughs.
A couple, yeah, you know. Is this mic on?
Are we doing 4? Yes, we gotta do 4.
Sure.
We gotta do 4.
Gotta have money.
Yeah,
Not money, well, we can't buy it.
100,000.
just gives the option,
Yeah.
gives the option.
And then we can go up and we can borrow.
Article 2 and 3 are passed. Or 288. 288 if Article 2 and 3 are not passed. So Article 2 and 3, what do they add up to?
Probably
They don't add up to 288.
187,660.
187. 187 what?
660.
188 plus the 100.
Oh,
We're
$288.
$100,000 and 187 is 287. We're calling it 288. And we're $1,000 off. Who did this math?
Me.
Yeah,
What number do you want?
But does it include the inspection that you said was gonna be paid for separately anyway? So that's probably why you're
Okay.
Do you want to include that?
Some mention include. Some.
Well, the 100,000,
Exceed 100.
We'll cover it.
yeah, the 100,000 is gonna cover that inspection anyway, so that's our first $1,000 going to that, you know.
2 and 3 are not passed.
Well,
Passed.
okay.
280.
So borrowing 100,000 is probably a rather easy thing to do within a 5-year period.
Right.
But if you're looking at 288, do you want to try and keep it within 5 years? Because that'll be a higher payment, but then you're gonna have to go bonding, which changes the whole wording of all of this.
Whole meeting, everything.
It becomes not a town meeting vote, but an Australian ballot vote.
Which
I
we want
personally
anyway.
want a 288 in
Not
there.
a paper ballot during
wow.
town meeting night, but an actual
Printed, you know?
printed
ballot.
Oh.
ballot.
Why are we putting the, if, as a board, we just voted in, as a board now, this board here, we just voted in Article 2 and 3 to be on this. Why are we putting in the financing?
Because you're gonna wanna borrow 100,000 for renovations.
Or the 2.
Right, but let's
We keep
take,
that-
but
we keep
let's take
part.
that 288
Just
right
get
off.
rid of the 288.
This is just an Article 4 to borrow the money.
Yeah, so you wanna
This
borrow
this whole
100,000,
thing,
not
the way I look at it,
288,000.
this whole thing should pass or not pass. You shouldn't be handpicking it at the top.
So it should say, if it passes, should be borrowed 100,000 for renovations.
Right. But these Article 2 and 3 must pass, so I wouldn't go forward.
Yeah, if 2 and 3 doesn't pass, 4 doesn't matter.
So,
So we get rid of the 288?
shall the town of Stamford borrow a sum not to exceed $100,000
If Article 2 and 3 pass,
if Articles 2 and 3 pass,
Period.
and that's it.
said sum to be repaid over a 5-year period.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we don't, if the Article 2 and 3 aren't passed, we can't buy it. We have to go back to the drawing board and ask the people for more money, have another special town meeting.
Right.
Can we
If
borrow?
the church says we're not waiting,
Yeah.
then we're not waiting. It's a missed
Then we won't have
opportunity.
to
Can we
change,
borrow the
we won't have to
100,000?
change number
Right, 'cause
7.
then we would have to
Capital
combine it.
expense without Australian ballot. That's where that
Well, then,
confusing article is.
I said, take that out, then we don't have to worry about that.
Just leave it like that.
Don't even put 4 in.
No.
No,
No,
put it in
stop
just for
it
the
at
borrowing the
100
100 grand.
100 grand if the other 2 pass.
Improvements or assets? Oh, more than 5 years, the procedure.
Yeah,
Bonding, you don't want to question.
but we know we could go 5 years with 100,000, that's,
5 years
that's
is approved.
40,000 for every 350,000 on your value, it's 40,000, or $40.
how long do you think you might know
5, yeah.
for grants? in this village center district.
You never need the 400,000.
I'm wondering if,
Got a call, I gotta make a call.
if you just did 1, 2, and 3, and they pass, you buy the building.
Yeah.
Now we have another town meeting in March.
That's what I was
Where
thinking
you
too.
could, at that point, have
Yes.
more information on grants or donations or other funding.
Okay.
Fundraising.
But we
whatever.
will go over budget on keeping the church, heated and electricity. I don't know how much, but we will go over budget.
Right.
And I think that when we did the sales agreement to it, said if there is oil, then we have to buy that oil.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that, that monies we have to, I mean, I think we have enough money to buy the first tank, but afterwards, how many tanks will we use, I don't know, it's just, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but then you're in January.
Yeah.
You're in next year's.
So we have 3 months of,
You're in next year's money.
And you
that's right,
You turn the temperature down in here
Right,
throughout the building
yeah.
a degree, and you
Yeah,
can
'cause
start
it's kind of
using
warm in here
that
now,
over
you're
there.
right, Paul,
Yes, I am.
you're
Put a
right.
sweater on.
I have no problem with that, I know that the church has no problem with that.
That's right. Put a sweater on.
I know when we go to church, we put sweaters on, cause it's cold.
And the seats are cold.
It
Nobody wants to move over because the seats
takes,
are cold.
it takes 10 hours to heat the pews up, and we're only there an hour, so, yeah,
Not worth it.
no, bring a heat,
Okay,
Hot
so we
seat.
agree on Article 1, 2, and 3. We're not doing 4, we have to do 5.
You do have to do 5.
and then,
Oh, we already made a motion for 1, 2, and 3 anyway.
but in March, you wanna put it on for renovations.
We could, yeah.
Well, I think
Well, you'll have a
We'll
lot
have a
more
little bit-
information then.
Sure, and if, like I said, if the inspection comes back and it's crazy, that information will be at the special town meeting, and you guys will say, oh, we're not spending that, that's the end of it. Or we might even do that before it even gets there, you know? I just personally, as a board member, if I see this numbers going over, way over crazy numbers, I'm gonna make that motion to get out of it, I know that.
Be careful, Mike.
It doesn't make sense, you know? Well, I'm only one guy, these guys,
I know, I know.
If you don't vote the renovation money, then you're handcuffing the voters to have to pass that in March. Cause now
You're
they
right.
own the building.
You're right, and we can't do anything with it, yep, you're right.
So then we might as well sell the building, or if they don't wanna renovate it, why do we have a building that's
Well,
gonna sit
I'm
there?
wondering,
No, but you're right, I
is it
mean,
gonna be harder to pass at the special meeting with people thinking, oh, hey, we may end up with a building that we can't renovate?
we can't spend, we can't,
We can't afford to renovate.
yeah.
Or contrarily, when March vote comes, they vote not, the town votes not to invest more money into the
That's what I'm
building.
saying,
Now
yeah.
you're
Right.
stuck with the
We're sitting with
Exactly.
problems, yeah.
So we can sell
Life's
it then.
full of choices.
Right, we have to put it up for sale, that's what I would say we would do, yeah. But, that being said, if, if we think that it's feasible and we have to put it up for sale, what a waste of time and money it would be, so I agree, I mean, I don't see why we won't put the 100,000, it doesn't say borrow it, it says not to exceed it. I mean, it's not like we're gonna go spend it if we don't need to, but just have that money just in case, like you said, we might have to, winterize it or put.
Cover the heat.
Put some windows in or cover the heat, we could lower that down to 50,000 just to get us to March.
I look at it again as optics. I think people are gonna feel handcuffed
I do, I agree with you, yeah,
that, geez, we bought a building, but we didn't,
that's a good point.
now we're gonna have to pay more money to renovate.
Do you think that it's, well, not to exceed is not to exceed, I mean, I don't really care if it's 100,000 or 50,000. To me, I think the board's fiscally responsible enough not to spend money we don't need, of course, So I don't think that the 100,000 is scary at all. But we're not gonna go asking the bank for it until we know what we need, Once we get that inspection and know it, we can say, okay, we might look and say, like Bill said, we can wait till after the first year, the money's a new budget. And we
New
can
grants.
do other things,
And
grants.
we're open to
yeah.
any donations from
But it
everybody.
might cost us
Put a flag on
10,000
the
for
door.
the, throughout the, heat and everything. We gotta take care.
Wanna look at the list?
I mean, I would assume that our highway guy would plow it, but that's some expense to plow it out,
Mhm.
Same thing with mowing, it's the same guy that mows here, maybe we can get a better deal to have him do both.
I think he mows that.
He does, yeah,
Already.
so,
I
we
can
can
get you a good
say,
deal on sheep, Mike.
what's that?
I can get you a good deal on sheep.
I think that's an awesome.
I think that's a great
I
idea.
thought you were putting them over there.
Huh?
I thought you were putting them over there.
Not voluntarily, but
My
sometimes.
daughter's been asking to, and I kept saying,
Yeah,
it's not our
Raise it.
property, we can't.
Raise it, raise it.
yeah, they'd clean that right up.
Yeah.
I think you might have an
How
in
about
now,
goats
CJ.
down in back?
Hey,
You know?
You might have an in now.
Oh, that's her business, I'm not.
Carolyn,
I'm just interested in how the information gets out to the population before November 25th. Because, you know, people, this is a great meeting and we're hashing out all the issues. I don't see a lot of people showing up at select board meetings. I wonder if a document could be put together once you have a rough out of the numbers. And Kurt is, got all these grants. It's worth mentioning that the BCRC has, has a lot of money. We voted on the town, I mean, just educating people to the fact that, in fact, there could be money to help renovate this building.
I mean,
A lot of
I
people
think that we
wouldn't know
could, do a mailer if we want,
Well,
but I
that's
also
what I
think we
think.
could just put it on, we could also put it on our website.
Well, nobody goes to the website because
Well,
it's non-phone.
It's funny because other people say, geez, without the website, I wouldn't know what's going on and see the minutes and all that, so they must know that's.
I think it's important enough that you do a multi-pronged,
Sure, and,
you do a mailer.
where do people,
I mean,
Put it on our website.
we'll do our due diligence and still have
Yeah.
everyone to show up.
Yep.
I mean,
You know,
everyone-
that-
For the vote.
We can't handhold everybody to come to the meeting.
No, but
Right.
don't you think that
It's
it's worth a document that sort of spells out what we've talked about here and the fact that there might be help?
Well,
what you said too is, people don't go to the select board meetings, so there's probably about, 500% more people tonight than there usually is.
Right.
So must be an important issue, right? Because
Mhm.
people don't go to meetings until it's an important issue, right? So if this is that important, we're gonna have other meetings.
How many
See
people are
all
watching
at those
online?
meetings too.
Judd, how many people are watching online?
Well, I come, but I'm not.
Comes and goes,
Mike, I would
but it's
tell you
usually
that
about
if-
35 to
I'm
40,
sorry.
55 to 40?
35 to 40.
Okay.
All right.
I would tell you if the agendas were more detailed, I think you'd have better attendance.
Lori had a comment.
They have to send notice to the voters either by publication or a mailing to registered voters. So if they put together a mailing with a letter that had all this information, the voters would receive it before that November 25th meeting.
We
And
did
the mail's
discuss,
in pretty good shape.
we did discuss that at one of the select board meetings that 10 days before the town meeting, it has to go out with a warning, and the warrant article there,
Yeah.
and put some information in, it's gonna cost
There's,
this much, this much, this much.
there is definitely multiple, like Paul said, there's multiple communication systems out there. Everybody laughs, but Facebook gets a lot of hits on
Mhm.
those sites that are up, and people spread the word.
Yep.
It's a lot better than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we posted it out here in Belmont, so
Yeah.
it's a lot better than it used to be. The website's helping, yes,
Anyone else wanna see it?
it has, it
I
needs
think you
detail.
use every avenue you got.
Yep, and again, I'd like to see, and CJ, I also agree with you on that, the agenda, it shouldn't just say roads, if there's something going on with the roads, we should put it in detail that says, we're talking about Lincoln Road project, or we're talking, and sometimes we are a little vague on the agendas. Sometimes we don't know what's gonna happen until we get here, many times, but,
But there are a lot of times where I read the minutes and I said, oh, I would have liked to have gone to that.
yeah, yeah. So, maybe we can, especially with this issue, put this on, a matter of fact, I would like to have it on every agenda until the town meeting, have it on the agenda, that there will be a discussion, even if there's no news.
Even if it's just an update.
Right, so an update of the
Inspection,
purchase
yeah,
of the building.
inspection,
Yeah.
but we
Yep.
don't have the report yet.
So,
Here.
it'll be on every agenda now, so if people wanna come and at least just hear it, or send your representative. If Marta wants to come and she's got 12 friends that she can call and say, hey, this is what they told us, so not everybody would have to go that way, but I think that should be on every agenda.
That's it?
So you back to?
No, we didn't do 4 yet.
Are you putting 4 back?
I would
in
like
or
to
something?
do the 100,000.
I would like to start with
Because I agree,
100,000.
you should,
Yep.
not to exceed 100,000 for a 5-year period.
I think it's
Take
clear
all the
that if
rest
you
out.
buy it, you're gonna expect to put
Yep.
some money in.
Yeah, so I'd take all that out, and I'd like to make a
Yeah.
motion to that.
Second.
All in favor?
So you're not gonna say if Articles 2 and 3 are
No.
passed?
Right.
Just 100,000 over.
I think you could say, well, yeah, because if it don't pass,
Yeah,
we're
if we
not
don't
gonna
pass,
pass.
we're not gonna get it.
We don't have the finances, and then we'll get to the financing part of it too, and change that wordage or.
And number 5 is good.
Yes.
Okay, Lori, if you would type this up and we can sign it. Any other business before the select board, before we,
I'd like to talk about the sign,
wait a minute, Lori's got something.
You have, the inspection agreement, that I just want you to look over, I have to,
Oh.
just approve it online, but I want you to be okay with it.
Okay.
Great job.
Did you look it over, Lori? Kind
Yeah,
of.
a bit, I mean, it's all mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
See you, folks.
Good night, thank you.
for your time. CJ, take care,
Thank
man.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So are you guys done? You're just gonna sign what you talked about?
Yep, yep.
You wanna
I'm
go?
not here to diagnose
With me? So you're staying until we.
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Charlie,
Yep.
how's your Wally doing? Pretty good, he looks good, but he's.
Bye, Rob.
Carl.
Take care, buddy.
Charlie's. Charlie.
Wally's.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I get a letter, I'm gonna bring it personally up to your house, and you gotta have, I think I'm drinking Coors Light. So you gotta have to come. Okay, here we go.
You're gonna keep recording till the bitter end, just in case I'm surprised. October surprise.
Lori wants to see more other. Nope, the trip fee is 95.
Nope, that's the most
Yeah.
sought after job in
I mean,
any nonprofit in
anywhere
Fairfield.
that's, I mean, there's a lot of money out there for a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but we don't have to work for
How
it.
much will the COC help us with grant
I
writing?
don't know, I gotta call Jan.
Can you, well, we'll hold this till after, so we wanna review.
We just
the
want to do this inspection
inspection
part
agreement.
of it now.
The client in Norway Hill, Carolyn, you can have a seat here, but we're just reading.
Yeah, we're not over, we're just doing this, we're making sure.
Client in Norway Hill,
I'm gonna leave with the
Nice
rest of the
seeing you,
people.
Carol. Yeah,
agreed to
thank you.
terms and conditions.
Thank you.
The client has been informed of other inspections we offer that are not included with the standard home inspection specified in Vermont standards for home inspection. Oh, and then they give us a website that's 3 sentences long. By initialing below, you're agreeing to the above inspection fees and waiving any additional services. Yes. Oh my gosh. Scope of the inspection, the client authorizes Norway Hill Home to perform standard home inspection in accordance with the state standard of practice, the following address. By providing a standard home inspection, Norway Hill Home Inspections intend to provide the client with an evaluation of the general conditions of the dwelling. The inspection is a visual inspection of the building, including its components and apparent overall condition on the date of inspection only. The inspection is limited to readily accessible areas of the building and improvements. Data collected for the report as a result of the inspection is not intended to make any representation regarding latent or concealed defects that may be present. No warranty or guarantee is intended, expressed, or implied on any system, equipment, or component. Limits of the inspection.
Reading all this?
Well, no,
We had this,
because we're not doing, what's that?
this was emailed to us.
Oh, was?
Yeah, we had this emailed to us, the prices and everything.
The whole thing? Because we're not doing,
I don't think you do.
we're not doing the radon and all that. Water,
We're doing
the
big
well
stuff,
testing,
the
we're
stuff
not doing
like
that.
Yeah,
Mold testing, we're not
you
doing
don't
that.
need to do that.
Report is
Renovate
not,
that, it's-
No, you paid the $900, you're getting the Title
report is
V.
not in warranty. Third-party software, dispute resolution.
You're not testing any lead pipes, right? That's like a
Right.
special order, mold, you're not doing mold testing. That's only, it says in parentheses in order.
Yes, I missed this one. They're just covering,
Yeah.
there's cells there. Now, here's the other thing, we're gonna get the inspection report. Kurt's gonna look into grants. I'm gonna ask Lori if she could call VLCT and see how much it would cost to insure that building. Lori, would you call VLCT and ask them how much it would cost to insure the building? We'll need that.
Could you get the oil cost for last winter?
Yes, that we can get.
Yep.
Cause it would probably just be
Yeah, 'cause when did you shut down?
last, October, I believe
It was last October, or was it in the spring? I
No,
can't
it was
remember.
October.
October?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to get
2 years ago?
It'd be a
2
generous
years
gift,
if I
general
can, to see
idea.
if I can get
I think it's
I
actually
can-
more.
So you
You
can-
can
oil
get this
more
year, I
than
can get the
some.
year before.
Okay,
Cause
yeah,
then we were in business then.
okay, yeah, that's probably the best one,
Yeah. Okay.
where you were actually functioning,
That's it, election.
turning it up and
I
down.
mean,
It's
last
been-
year was warm too.
Yeah, but it's been down to nothing, just enough so the pipes don't freeze.
electricity would be much.
You can
No.
get the mowing because that's the same.
Yep.
Electric would be this.
I mean, electric
That's
could be-
minor, that would be
yeah.
about the same.
I mean, that's,
60, 70 bucks.
yeah, I
You
mean,
just,
geez.
nobody's
Okay.
ever there, right? You just.
No.
So we need to
Yeah,
hire
the lights
someone.
are shut off, you turn them on,
Yeah.
the lights don't cost much, it's the other big stuff, you know.
We need to hire someone or talk to someone because they said, the realtor said we could get anybody to come in to give us a price on how much to upgrade the electric, if it needs upgrade.
Sure.
So do we know anybody we wanna use for carpentry, electric,
Well, I did
plumbing?
mention, Mike Senko, because he's in town, he's
I think
right.
he would be good.
I think, and I don't know if he can do electrical or not, if he can.
His
Well,
son
he
could-
probably
his
had
son
this
does.
up.
Jim's got,
Jimmy had Jimmy's.
well,
There you go.
it's I guess North Adams, but one or two of the guys live here in town. I don't know if they do this kind of stuff. but
I don't know
they've been good with us. and
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
the way I look at it is if you can get one guy to do all of it, it'd be awesome, you know? You don't have to get up, I'm just getting ahead of it, right?
Do you wanna, anybody wanna call, Senecal and ask him if he can do these three things?
Or can you do that for
Dependent,
us?
Yeah, so what three things?
carpentry, electric, plumbing. You can't do plumbing.
He probably has some. He probably has some.
Can you do Vareski?
Yeah, they're right. I don't know what the schedule is, but
Jim Williams?
he's in town.
Yeah, I mean, he's in town, he can do
What's
it.
that?
Jim Williams?
Yep,
Jim
Jim Williams
Williams?
is in town.
So Mike Senical to do carpentry and electric, and Jim Williams
Jim
to
Williams,
do
what's that?
plumbing.
Yeah.
Senecal.
Right, so, I mean,
Well,
don't
Jim
hurt to have
Williams,
it all
plumbing.
done.
He's come
Yeah.
down, done previous.
Plumbing and
Oh,
water.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Plumbing and water.
That's,
Yeah, well-
Seneca's actually giving us deals on stuff, I mean, we
Now-
all kinda owe it to them, put them in the loop here.
Plumbing and, can Jim Williams do plumbing and water?
He does heating. Plumbing and
He
heating.
doesn't do water?
I think he says plumbing.
Yeah, I think plumbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
plumbing and heating.
Yeah.
Plumbing
I-
and-
he's
plumbing
done
and
stuff
water.
for me, so.
Plumbing's water.
Yep,
Okay.
I know
He's
that-
not gonna look at them.
I know that Vareski does not do sewers.
Right.
Mike Wall had his license by spring for Vermont to do
The
septic.
two septics, okay.
Who's that?
Mike
Mike
Wall,
Wall.
up on my road.
Oh,
I know I've been in contact with him
Yeah.
for a neighbor.
okay.
So
Nice.
depending on the inspection, you
Right.
can call A1 or you wanna just wait.
I think we should wait, we don't have
Yeah, we
any.
don't-
Yeah, we
don't
gotta
have any
wait until we
information.
get the
I
inspection.
mean, I don't see that not passing, actually, I think that'll pass. I mean, there's not been any
How
problem.
much use did he get?
Well,
Read forward.
yeah, one
Make
time
sure
it
it
did,
got
but
full
yeah, it hasn't-
with the
but it-
parentheses.
Not much, and I don't see it, not.
You can go look back, see the last time it was pumped, and I give you an
Right.
idea.
And you know, even if we
Our
turn this into a center, of center, it's not gonna be used like people think, it's gonna be like a house.
I don't think it was ever-
It's not a residency.
It'll be a lot less than an average house, you know, yeah,
Unless we Airbnb the
They're
attic.
telling me all the pictures are full of.
yeah.
I don't think it was ever pumped.
Oh, maybe not. I
Because of how
don't-
much use.
No, I wasn't involved in Bosco, I don't, really,
One-
I don't know. Yep,
Two
I'm on
people,
the other-
two people a week.
Yeah, I mean, I, I know some of the financing, but I wasn't involved in any of the everyday stuff at that church, so I don't know.
So if they say they'll do it, we're just getting yeses and nos, we're not setting up times, or are we setting up times?
I think we should, well, I don't think we should do times, necessarily for like the sewer, but maybe,
No, but like the carpentry, electric, plumbing, water heating,
I mean, I don't know how the carpenter's gonna give you any numbers, because what are we doing? What are we
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be
not
doing?
doing
We don't,
anything.
yeah, we don't know, I don't think we have to worry about that.
We need electrical, plumbing,
Yep.
heating,
I think that,
carpentry.
prices are
fluctuating
sewer and water.
nobody gives you a.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, we know that going in
Electric,
and
water,
ripping that,
plumbing.
you know, gutting that out and putting, say, sheetrock on it, it's gonna cost, you know, it's gonna take,
So what were the
you know, a
three?
week to do that,
Electric,
okay? With two
water,
carpenters, that's what,
I mean, we may, we
100
got
feet.
looking, depending on.
an hour for two carpenters?
If we estimate, say 30,000 for each, that gives us 10,000 for under $100,000 bar.
Yeah, yeah,
So 30,000 for electric, 30,000
yes.
for plumbing,
We're only,
and then we might
unless
not,
there's something seriously
we
wrong
may be able to
upstairs, I
seal
wouldn't even
some
have to-
from
I was gonna say, just
One
do
of
downstairs,
downs out the
Make
other.
that downstairs look nice.
put the
you know?
upstairs on a separate,
Yep.
box and meter,
Yep.
not a meter, but
Could
a
you
box.
phase one, phase two?
Yeah.
Right,
There
and
you go.
we could generate monies afterwards with the center, you know, if we have a, if it becomes a center that's multiple uses.
You can do a fundraising.
Sure,
There's a
sure.
lot of options.
Is it a potential at some point, maybe there could be a solar field in that?
Well, someone talked to me about that, and they said that if you put a solar field in, it will literally pay for your electricity the rest of it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of
But our
options with
electricity
this
there would
place.
be really cheap, so
Right.
we have
Once
to
you put
maybe
somebody
sell it
in,
back
they'll
into the
like
grid.
You
in
could,
for 20
yeah.
years.
I'm not a big fan of ruining
So
that
you gotta
yard
really
with
But
solar.
then I
do
know
it or
picnics
not.
How about the
and
roof? How about the
in the
roof?
yard, you're-
Yeah.
The roof's got south face of roof.
Yeah, we could look at that. That's all stuff we can look at.
And that's all. The bingo hall used to have bathrooms in it too. Where's that? The septic tank's probably.
Don't
there.
know,
Oh, yeah.
it's probably
I never
out back
found
there
that,
somewhere.
So if they're hooked together.
How would you find something like that? Would they like sonar it or?
You
Yeah.
can
Oh,
metal
they
detect
find
it.
it.
It's
Yeah.
probably a steel tank.
Oh, there's probably metal everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Jenny.
Nails
Maybe,
and stuff.
maybe.
Maybe if
But I would like to make a motion that we, sign the, inspection.
Second.
All in favor?
A lot of this stuff is gonna be after Saturday, we'll know. When's our next meeting? Next week? or
That's
the week
Saturday.
after?
When- Can we go to the inspection?
We got a free week.
Yeah.
We got a
Eight
free
thirty.
week, so
8:30.
next week is Halloween, and then
Well, I thought we had a free week tonight too, but I guess not.
you would have had a nice 3 week span.
Yeah, thanks.
You left out.
3 weeks.
Yeah, this general public turn it into.
There's a lot of, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of options for it.
Said some,
We get paid for this meeting?
yes.
Probably not.
We really?
Alright, yeah, let's.
Oh, the other two meetings, I
Let's
put your
have
name,
coffees.
your initials down, because you were
Oh, okay.
Wait a
Okay.
minute.
I didn't- Not that I care, I just was wondering if we ever did.
Oh, were we gonna say,
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure.
Article 4, shall the town of Stamford borrow a sum not to exceed 100,000 if Article 2 and 3 are passed?
Period.
Said sum to be repaid over a 5-year period.
Yeah.
Are we gonna say $100,000 toward renovation? Why,
Yeah,
why are we
yeah.
borrowing 100,000?
Well, we born, yeah, you gotta have, put that towards renovation, yep. Yeah, you do have to say.
For
what it was.
renovation, and we just say, we keep in if Article 2 and 3 are passed, or at that point, it's irrelevant if we've made it to Article 4?
Correct,
Right, right, so
So
take
take
that
that
out.
out.
We just borrow the renovation money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a kitchen in here or anything like?
Put it in the rainy day.
Stove? No.
I don't even think there's a sink downstairs. is
I was thinking maybe you could do like
a
something
bathroom.
so like
Oh, I love that. No, because I have no
That's
room
all
for it.
right. We can be here till 10:30.
But if I was younger and remodeling, I would remodel my kitchen after that, because it's a corner sink, the drain board.
Yes, hey, as long as it's good coffee, and you're not like
Don't tell
reusing the
Jimmy's.
grounds from the day before, you know?
Right.
No.
I had coffee like that.
Use their
before.
shirts for, filters?
Yeah.
Couch,
None of that
Yeah.
craziness with the cough. Cool. We'll see
Oh,
what
so I'm
happens.
calling the
Yeah, well,
attorney
it was,
tomorrow.
it was a good meeting, and we did some good input, I
Yeah.
thought.
Can I go?
I
No.
think you
Why are you waiting for something?
calmed down a few people.
What we're gonna do with
Yeah,
it.
we did.
What
Well,
we're
now
gonna
the
do with it
rumors
if
will
it
go out
passes.
from the people that were here, they will spread it to and maybe that'll calm down a lot of people that weren't here
Well,
tonight.
Cause I heard a lot of people.
You know what I like though, some of the, like, you know, I know we're still taping and stuff, but some of the people that had questions, they were answered and they were really, like, you could see that breathing, like, whew, that's better, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was a good.
That we
Yeah,
did not
yeah.
buy it, period.
Yeah.
People
All
say
the other
$170,000
information's gonna be there.
A lot of
Think about other ways.
information.
So you might
is what
wanna,
counts
because
as
we made a
really-
motion to accept it before we revised it, so if you wanna read that and.
Okay.
Yeah, read it out
Read,
and we'll.
shall the town of Stamford borrow a sum not to exceed $100,000 toward renovation at a rate to be determined. Said sum to be repaid over a 5-year period.
So this is an amended, Article 4, I'd like to make a motion.
Yeah, because we already,
Did we pass this in lieu of the other motion?
Could I just read it real
Second.
quick?
And if that's hot,
Yep.
whatever I need to do, other.
yep,
Second, clean it up.
it says towards renovation. You know, we know what we want to do, but we
Motion.
don't always say the correct terminology, like
Yeah,
Exactly.
Kurt was
that's
saying.
why I said I got a C- in vocabulary.
Right, I'm not a
And I'm-
professional.
We don't have to nitpick everything.
We're not trying to put anything
We're not
over or sneak
professional
anything.
No,
Politicians.
bottom line is.
Even
it's up to
professionals
you to
get
decide
caught,
in
right?
town, and it's like.
You see some of them town
you
meetings,
want
it's
it or
like,
you don't,
what?
so
That's what I'm saying.
We're just trying to
I
make
think-
sure we
I think if
make
this
sure
passes-
everybody's happy, I guess.
If it passes, the most contentious thing is probably gonna be what we're gonna do it,
Yeah.
or if we should have a sign
The
on it.
big thing, I heard,
No
as
sign.
far as this, is the senior center.
You put on the list.
There's no room for signs.
Yeah.
It's too close.
Yeah.
You can hang it out the building, right?
Say, hey, what do you guys want to use it for?
The
You
list
can
of
hang it right
parking
out
is long.
the building.
Yeah.
That's okay.
My number one choice too,
Yeah, sign.
The road
Yeah.
now, I
Yeah.
don't know.
because we were talking about it, there's a million things you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And down and back,
Oh,
is-
Lane's got one, it's like.
down and back, there's a
Exactly.
beautiful
Oh,
area
yeah,
for
Bosco's
walking
gotta
and
be-
it's
where that big
very,
stump
very
is
pretty.
there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you couldn't build anything
You could put
there.
picnic tables out there, people could come,
Mine-
Yeah.
they go walking and
Yours is
running,
pretty
they could
close,
go
too.
stop after lunch.
40,
Well, like Mike said, they could walk their dog there and not on the
You
schoolyard.
just gotta be, they can be inventive.
Clarksburg's got horseshoe pads and they got
Oh, there you go,
pavilion.
we get fenced in,
Townspeople
we
can
make
use
a
it
dog
anytime they
park.
want.
A play area.
If you
for-
wanna have a party there with
And they could,
alcohol,
uh,
there's some rent.
Walking the dog there.
Oh,
If you wanna just go down there and play horseshoes, you're more than welcome.
You could put a play area
They
for
could make a
kids.
donation to walk your dog.
We can do a lot.
To what? To what?
Play area for kids and stuff, I don't know what's out here.
I don't
Options are
know, kids
limitless.
play up here, Lauren.
Kids go on their cell phone.
Can I have a
Yeah, I
copy?
think the board would be willing to hear whatever
All right.
somebody had for an idea for it.
I think we're good.
I'm not rushing you.
You're hungry, or else you got
I got
another
a
meeting.
date waiting on the G.
Oh,
You better
okay.
get up.
Yeah, she's waiting too,
I
she's
know she is.
she's gone.
Do we wanna make a motion to adjourn the meeting
Yeah.
until
Motion
next
to
week?
adjourn.
And
Motion to adjourn.
Until next week.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
No, we don't do next week, we